Hello, welcome to my channel. This week I found, well, actually last week I found some art supplies that I forgot I had, and I'm going to show you that. And it's been a funny week. It's been a good week. I've been really wanting to focus on just trying to get out in nature, trying to slow my mind down, and it's made me sort of really value once again the idea of doing a warm up. I think I had neglected that, so I spent a lot of this week just playing with materials and had a few beautiful trips out into nature, very short but very worthwhile. Finally, the winter has arrived and the weather has cooled down. It's been, I think I probably mentioned it somewhere along the way, we haven't had much rain for like 6 months, and my husband is a farmer, so we're very wired to rain and how much rain we kind of get. Anyway, so this one's a good one. Actually, before I sort of say that, my name is Alyssa. I'm an artist. I live in Perth, Western Australia, and welcome, and please subscribe if you feel inclined, if you like my content and like the video. This one is, if you wanted to paint along with me, it's a good one. I just shared one little activity I did with a whole bunch of art supplies, honestly. Mainly I started off with watercolour, and I just taped some papers to the desk, and so I could kind of work freely on all three of them, and that worked out really, it was really fun. The other thing was I've been experimenting once again with oil sticks and things like that. I'm in that little phase, I think, that many artists can relate to, where you're creating sort of art that you're not that happy with, but it's a necessary kind of phase. So I didn't show you the process of playing with my oil sticks. I'm kind of, anyway, it would have been too long if I did anyway, but sort of just not happy. Even some of my sketches just not happy with, but I know that that's just a means to an end, and it's about the process. And so I'm giving you a little look into one of the books that I found, which was has an amazing story that really related to sort of where my headspace was at this week, because I've been really thinking I need to slow down and notice the small things, and yeah, sort of quiet my soul, I guess. And what else can I tell you? Um, I have in the back of my mind, because I've just started a painting on another dream that I had, and in the back of my mind, I'm really wanting to do a little art journaling activity around a fairy tale book that I kind of showed you the cover of, but I didn't show it to you. And I want to revisit that, because there was a video that I did a long, long time ago on one of the artists in the book called Kay Nielsen. And I want to revisit that because honestly, his work is so beautiful, and I found that I learnt so much from that. So it's another artist that I want to revisit. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the video. It's a bit of a long ramble at the start, sorry. Yeah, so I have a few little pockets of different things that I'm doing, as always. I guess it's just like bits and bobs of what I'm doing in my little art life. And as always, stay creative, and I just want to encourage everyone to stay, to just be gentle on themselves, and just to feel like creativity is really, really valuable for our world. So keep at it, keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. See ya. Stewie and I had a quick visit to the local reserve, and it was just lovely just to do a few little sketches. So I just took my ink tents and my journal, I had my journal on my lap, and honestly, it took me a little while to kind of get settled, and it's like it takes time to kind of notice everything, and I think that's why I'm focusing in on some of the smaller details. I was even looking at ants and things like that, and yeah, it was like, I think it was this day I realized, there's really so much going on in nature. that we kind of take for granted on the surface. I just did like a 5-minute sketch with my Inktense. I worked on it a little bit later on, but yeah, I remember I was looking at the trees and just really loving the gnarliness of the tree trunks, and I don't know, just how scratchy everything looks, and how well, everything looks kind of dry and just beige at the moment because we haven't had very much rain until now. We've had torrents now, but at this stage, we hadn't had very much rain. And yeah, I was liking some of these colors here that I used to, because everything was so dry, it was all those sort of subtle kind of colors. Hey guys, you can hear the rain in the background. I'll show you. We really needed rain. We haven't had much rain for like 6 months, and all the trees were dying in the forest, so we're getting a lot of rain, making up for it now. So you'll hear it in the background, sorry. But I just wanted to show you this big box I found. Well, I forgot that I stored all of this under the house when I was doing art classes, and it was an absolute treasure trove of stuff. Like I was experimenting with these. These are little kids pastel, sort of water soluble, and they've been a lot of fun. But I also had a whole heap of pastels these are really good quality pastels, which I'm gonna use and experiment with. So I've just been experimenting with materials, and also I don't know, if you're not from Australia, you might not have heard of Shaun Tan, but I've got a lot of books. I'm such a fan of his. I've got a lot of books that I stored away because I did projects for kids based on Shaun Tan, and this is just one of his graphic novels. I can see I'm going to have to do another little book tour one day. Little thing about journaling. Sorry, it's so messy. It's another Shaun Tan book. It's a colouring in book. I think we scored this from Aldi, actually. You can see that. Hopefully I'm holding the camera all right. It's just so much. I'll dig out the one. So this, I don't know, I feel bad that I think we just have such a small house, and I always sort of end up thinking I'm going to store things away just to organise, and I'm glad I found all of this, and it was stored in a nice sturdy plastic box, which I'm grateful for. Yeah, this was called The Lost Thing, and honestly, the amount of projects I've done over the years based on this book. We made lost things out of recycled materials. We did a story about lost things. We wrote a news report, all the stuff that you do as teachers. Yeah, so basically just lots and lots of little resources. And the art supplies. So we've got all of this. I'm going to have to step over my dog. I don't think he feels very good about the rain. Yeah, so these like metallic crayons, just Crayola ones. I got woodless charcoal pencils. Like I totally forgot I had all of them. Anyway, metallic oil pastels. Some interesting things. And these little guys, these are chalk. They look like makeup. They look like eyeshadow, but they're actually not. But yeah, so much stuff. Oh, what a blessing. Here I'm just experimenting with art supplies, random art supplies with some watercolor paper taped to my table. And I just decided to use some of my plein air sketches as inspiration. I felt just so good about finding all of those things that I stashed away, and um, I just, it made me really remember back when I was teaching. I used to teach all ages, just primary school, and I taught some homeschool kids from my studio at home who were in high school age. So I've really taught all age groups in my background, just art, focusing on art, being the art specialist. And I just remembered how much a lot of my students used to inspire me. It was just amazing, like especially the younger ones, because they just approached everything with so much curiosity and so much joy and interest in everything that they sort of did. Like they were very tactile with all of the materials, sometimes using them in really unconventional ways, like, dipping the dry pastels in water kind of thing, and and using so much water in their watercolors that it sort of creates pools, pretty much like what I'm doing here. It's a lot of water pools there. But yeah, they just approached everything with this sort of curiosity, and then when they did want to have something in mind that they wanted to express, they were just so intent and focused and absorbed in what they were doing. And I think it just made me really remember, and thinking about it here, I really just giving myself that permission to play. But also I realised the value in doing warm-up activities. I think I've been neglecting doing warm-up activities, and just with no sort of intention in mind, really. I mean, I think with these little pictures here, I just had, I wanted to put my plein air kind of sketches to good use. So I was using them as just a sort of a guide, or something to respond to as far as colours and textures and things like that go, because a lot of my plein air sketches, looking back at them, they're kind of just visual notes that really only I can understand. They're so messy, but I've just been enjoying it so much, and it's made me appreciate just the value of looking, and the value of being outside and observing life. Being out in nature this week has sort of made me realise how much overwhelm there is everywhere else. There's so much chaos and just clutter in our lives, and I just realised how when we observe life and we go into nature, it's not like there's nothing going on. There's like the wind and the birds and the leaves and the trees, and there's insects. It's like such a cacophony kind of liveliness, but it's in such a different way. I think it just sort of nurtures the soul. Like if you compare sort of going to a supermarket, for instance, like there's so much going on. There's like noise, there's lights, there's colors, everything's coming at you from everywhere, and it's usually pretty cold, and it's sensory overload. But then, when you go into nature, it's the same. It's like there's liveliness, but it's in a very different way, and it's in the kind of way that it kind of invites you into whatever you need, in a way. Like mainly it invites awe and curiosity, which is something that I think that we all crave for. We crave for sort of that enchantment, I think, in life. That's what, to me, is one of the core things that as humans we really want and need. And it also brings a sense of quietude, deep quietude as well, which is another thing that we we don't often get in our world. I think as well, when we are in creation, it's like a homecoming, because artificial environments are artificial and natural environments are natural, and we know that we're a part of it and it's a part of us, and that sense that we're a part of creation and we're sharing in this whole wonderful, crazy existence. I'm using all the art materials here. I've got those are the watercolor, my old watercolor palettes, and I used to use them when I had art students as well. They've been really versatile. And I don't know, in the left hand corner you can see the little crayons, and they're like lipsticks, and they're so weird. They're actually water soluble crayons, and they're really satiny. They're just funny, and I have enjoyed using them. The white was really fun to use. It goes on really transparent, and I actually like that effect. And there it is. It's been great fun. I never thought to use them in this way. I don't know why. I think I guess I forgot all about them to start with, but yeah. And I've also got inks and acrylic inks and Indian inks and all the things. I might speed it up a little bit now and slow it down at the end so you can see, because yeah, I probably take a long time with this. Thought I'd show you this book that I found by Sean Tan, just to have a little peek through. Unfortunately, it's not in fantastic condition, but it has been very much used. It's been well loved, put it that way. He's interesting to me always because he grew up in Perth as well, and just inspired by at Fremantle and Perth, where you kind of got endless suburbs and nothing much going on type thing. And I think the whole idea of the story was that everybody's thinking that there's nothing much going on, but nobody notices this lost thing that's in the landscape except for this one guy. So it says, like in the opening, this is so what Perth is like. This all happened a few summers ago, one rather ordinary day by the beach. Not much was going on. So it's so true. I mean, I think he's a similar generation to me, and growing up in the 80s, it's like nothing much going on. You kind of just are in these endless kind of suburbs, and people often go to Cottesloe Beach and things like that, and Fremantle. And I don't know, he's kind of captured that sort of feeling of that. So anyway, this lost thing shows up. Nobody notices it except for this one dude. And I've always loved the way he depicts the suburbia. Like this one, I'm probably digressing, but that's okay. tales of outer suburbia. Like it just inspires me, just all the ordinary things that we see in our lives, and how it really got me onto that idea of the extraordinary living within the ordinariness of life. And I think it's very, very true, and a bit of a theme for this week for me, because everything's sort of been just trying to slow down and notice the everyday things. And it does take time. Like, it's amazing how your mind takes time to just slow down. Yeah, my parents didn't really notice it at first, too busy discussing current events, I guess. So we just can't see the thing that's right under our noses, even if it's this big red. I checked the local paper for any lost pet notices, but only found a lot of good deals on refrigerator repairs. I remember thinking then that Pete was probably right, that some things were just plain lost. This is the Federal Department of Odds and Ends. So Shaun Tan is he is an illustrator and an artist. There's a place in Perth called Remeda, which they collect recycled materials and things like that. And Shaun Tan, there's actually a painting of his in there. So he's very much, like, even with this book, he's used old papers. I think his dad was like an architect, so he's using that sort of mixed media in the background. And yeah, very much thinking, I know he's very much thinking about that real, I mean, where I live, it's a very, it's an industrial area where I live, and yeah, it always reminds me of Shaun Tan, just all the industrial buildings beside the beach. And I love how he's used colour here, just with the red and the sort of the browns and greys and beige. And this is this is amazing, this little spread. I wonder if you can see that well. Probably the light is a bit bright. Hang on. So that's the department, that's all of the lost things, and you can just spend hours looking at it. It reminds me of so many sort of surrealist, abstract artists like Miro, and I don't know, I can't think of the names of any offhand, but it's got that sort of quality of just a lot of crazy shapes that, I don't know, they impact you somehow. They sort of cause you to react because they remind you of something but not quite. So the lost thing was very happy to find its home. He's saying, don't ask me what the moral is. Maybe there aren't many, hang on, he said, I see that sort of thing less and less these days though. Maybe there aren't many lost things around anymore, or maybe I've just stopped noticing them. Too busy doing other stuff, I guess. It's just gorgeous. I just wanted to have a quick flip through of this one as well. These, honestly, they really got me a few years back into just looking at houses around me and realising that where I live it's so ordinary, but painting everything around me, I guess. And even in my plein air sketches, I'm hoping to, yeah, I'm actually planning on doing some paintings around that, just the local landscapes, concurrently to the other stuff that I'm doing. So I'm still painting dreams. I feel like I always need a couple of things on the go. But this is just beautiful. I love this picture. I hope you can see it well. I think I'll have to put it in frame better later. But I feel like he's captured that. It's like it's very much suburban, and yet there's this magical quality in it. So you can see so much. Even the clothes on the clothesline, they look like spirits almost, just at one with the birds. I just love that. So yeah, he's really done it so well. It is so inspiring, isn't it? I'm going to read this. Sadly, a big ball of paper, no matter how large and buoyant, is still a fragile thing. Sooner or later, it will be surprised by a sudden gust of wind, beaten by driving rain, and reduced in a matter of minutes to a billion soggy shreds. One morning, everyone will wake up to find a pulpy mess covering front lawns, clogging up gutters and plastering car windscreens. Traffic will be delayed, children delighted, adults baffled, unable to figure out where it all came from. Stranger still will be the discovery that every lump of wet paper contains various faded words pressed into accidental verse. Barely visible, but unintentionally present to each reader, they will whisper something different, something joyful, something sad, truthful, absurd, hilarious, profound, and perfect. No one will be able to explain the strange feeling of weightlessness or the private smile that remains long after the street sweepers have come and gone. I love that. That's so cool. I love that idea. It's like little bits of paper, and it's very true, isn't it? Like we're all just reading our own version of some verse, and so yeah, these are just gorgeous. And he's got stories about everything. A lot of his let's look at that. A lot of his stories are centered around being displaced and being a foreigner in another country, and yeah, that idea of not feeling like or feeling like you don't fit in. And I think it's something, even if you haven't had the experience of being a foreigner in another country, I think it's something that we all experience at some points in our lives where we feel displaced and like we don't belong. And the images really speak to that, don't they? Anyway, he's got some beautiful stuff, so thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. I wanted to do another warm-up activity, kind of, based on that little forest visit I went to, using watercolor. And I had this old scrap of watercolor paper that I felt like, well, I didn't feel precious about it, so I wanted to use it up, and I wasn't really invested in the final outcome. So yeah, ideal. So I kind of do consider this another warm-up activity and just a fun thing to do. I wanted to sort of have a go with dry pastel this time because I haven't used them in a very long time. And yeah, I did enjoy this. I feel like they're a very different medium from what I'm used to. I think I've become very used to using acrylic paint in my life, but they go well with the watercolor over the top of the watercolor. So that was really fun. But am I happy with the final outcome? Yeah, meh, not so much, but that's okay. I've really, it's just been that kind of week. Let's just try things and we'll just see what happens. So anyway, I can see this is almost finished, and I'm going to say goodbye. And I really hope that you find so much joy in your creative pursuits, whatever they are, and just encourage you to enjoy all of what beauty surrounds you wherever you are in the world, and enjoy creating, and keep at it. And we'll see you next time. God bless. Bye.